Today, every day, small cap investors visit Agoracom knowing this is the day to discover the world's next great company, to have their dreams come true. That's why I take to the open road, to find them, to tell their stories, to engage them, to bring them to life, because they want to connect with you from your office, your phone, your home, anywhere. Agoracom, find your dream.
Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Agoracom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives about really big news coming out of their companies. With us today, I'm happy to have for the first time ever, Jesse Dillon. He's Director and CEO at Good Life Networks. The company trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the stock symbol GOOD, G-O-O-D, and for our friends in Germany on Frankfurt under 4G5. Now, for those of you who are new to the Good Life story, and that's going to be a lot of you, because they just started trading in the latter half of last year. The company is a programmatic advertising company. What does that mean? Essentially, they automate the buying and selling of advertising between publishers and advertisers, specifically in the video world. You've probably heard that a lot. There are a lot of advertising platforms out there. You've heard that before, but that's where the similarities end. At Good Life Networks, they've got artificial intelligence that makes 80,000 calculations per second to make sure they create the best matches between advertisers and publishers. Their network targets 750 million users, and when they do things right, that leads to higher volumes, better prices. More than just lip service, this is the press release we're going to be talking about. They just put out their financial results for the year. List these numbers: $9.7 million in revenue, up 278%. Gross profit, $4.3 million, up 800%. Record net income, $1.33 million. That's versus a loss last year of $3 million. And record EBITDA, $1.7 million. Here to talk about all that with us is Jesse. Welcome to the show.
George, great pleasure. I was thinking to myself, what a handsome man while you were speaking.
And I wasn't thinking the same, but what I was thinking is how handsome your numbers are. And that's what everyone at home really cares about. So before we get into some of the details, I mean, these are fantastic numbers. You're a small cap company, the TSX Venture Exchange. We don't see this every day. Were you expecting these numbers, or were these numbers even surpassing your expectations for the year?
Well, first of all, great pleasure being here, and thank you, George. And thank you to our listening audience and viewing audience. We are a new company on the TSXV, Good Life Networks, Inc. Our trading symbol is GOOD. You know, we're a tech company, so there's a lot of science, a lot of math. There's a lot of assuredness with what we do. So yes, we were expecting these numbers. Internally, we forecast them. We charted our progress internally. We knew that we would do, we didn't think the EBITDA would be quite so high. We were hoping for EBITDA of between $1.25 million to $1.5 million. We were mildly impressed at $1.7 million EBITDA. That's what we do. We try and be good to our word, George. We try and create an internal forecast, and these were our pro forma numbers last year, and we exceeded our own expectations a little bit.
Now let's go into what you do for a second. I described a little bit, programmatic advertising. You're essentially matching advertisers and publishers, but you're obviously beyond the normal things that you'll see on websites with these matching systems and these, advertising give and take. What is about your technology? Explain to everyone at home how your technology works between advertisers and publishers that makes it so special.
Yeah, and that's it's an interesting thing that you brought up because, look, I'm not that smart a guy, George, but I surround myself with smart people. My gift is to try and dumb the message down just enough so hopefully the market and the community at large understand it. And then I've got very, very smart people behind the company in certain roles and responsibilities that can get very granular with that. But advertising technology is difficult to understand. Basically, we connect the consumer, you, to an advertiser. That's what it's all about. $600 billion a year floats around the planet behind me. Over half of that is in digital advertising, and a big portion of that is in advertising technology. sometimes referred to as programmatic advertising. What we've done, George, is build a better mousetrap, a much faster machine, kind of like the NASDAQ of trading machines, with no, or rather a very high brand safety effect. So unlike PII, personally identifiable information, which is a no-no, and that's what got Facebook in a lot of trouble, we saw that coming. So we built machine learning, artificial intelligence, patent-pending algorithms that have no PII. We don't use people's personal identifiable information. We use the machine, and the machine is as effective or more effective than what Facebook's doing with personally identifiable information that got them in so much trouble. So once again, George, to boil it down, we take the advertiser, the consumer, we put them together, we make 100,000 decisions a second. I know a moment ago you said 80. We've actually improved that now.
You guys have increased 100,000. That's great.
We now make 100,000 decisions a second. It's an incredibly fast platform, incredibly efficient, and that's one of the reasons why we're growing so quickly.
So if I'm a Agoracom at the end of the day and I want to run video advertising, I've got these commercials and I want to make sure that commercial gets in front of the right people online, you're essentially running all those calculations to make sure the right kind of demographic, the right kind of viewer on the right kind of channel is seeing my ads, and it's happening instantly.
That's correct, but let me just correct it a little bit or enhance that a little bit. We wouldn't deal specifically with an Agoracom. We deal with a much larger international agency that represents 1,000 to 10,000 Agoracoms.
All right.
They would plug into us and into our system. You know, Google's a client. We deal at a very high level with massive amounts of volumes coming into the platform. I think we're up to 1 billion transactions a day.
Well, and that's something I want to ask you about, because I saw the material that says you target up to 750 million users around the world. I mean, that's more than 1 every 10 people on the planet. So you don't have your own platform naturally. So that's, and maybe you can give us more information, because I think you touched on it there a second. You said Google is your client. How do you possibly target 750 million users around the world?
George, we have our own platform. That's what makes us so unique and significant. We have built a trading desk from the ground up. We own it. It has a patent pending on the algorithms, the one I've been talking about. That's what makes us so unique from most advertising technology companies. Very few have their own trading platform. Google has one. They bought it out of the market a year or two ago, kicked all the clients off it, use it for themselves. Facebook did the same thing. There's another big trading desk, a good one. They bought it out of the market, kicked the clients off. They use it for themselves. Generally speaking, they don't build those things, they buy them. So we see ourselves with our trading platform as being the 3rd largest trading platform. That's our goal. But in the free market, outside of Google and Facebook, which are closed or walled environments, we see ourselves being the 3rd largest trading platform in the world on our unique proprietary patent pending trading desk next to Google and Facebook. Be clear, what makes us so unique is we have our own trading platform on our own servers. We own our own servers. And because of that, because we're not renting servers, we get to spend a lot of time with the data. And our machines learn very quickly when they're spending time with the data.
Yeah, and my apologies, by the way, to clarify, I meant to say you don't have a social media platform like a Facebook where
Right.
you've got a billion people using it. But so that's fantastic as far as the trading platform. So how do you get out to those 750 million people? How does your AI get out there and scan the videos that are accessing up to 750 million users? Have you got content partnerships? Have you got relationships with the publishers, where the publishers will say, hey, Good Life Networks, come on in here and you can scan our videos and see which ones are best for you to advertise beside?
That's correct, George. On the one side, we've got DSPs, direct side platforms. On the other side, we've got SSPs, sales side platforms. We have other exchanges. All of this ecosystem is coming into us. Some of those platforms are small, some are large, some of the exchanges are huge. You know, we did 17 integrations last year. That's iron to iron, server to server with some of these exchanges and DSPs and SSPs. Where we were doing tags before, we've stepped it up, and we're now doing integrations, direct integrations, server-to-server integrations with very large partners and some tags. But we're really moving out into the integration world. Very difficult to do, but we can do it because of the efficacy of our platform. And that's a way that the market can measure us to a certain extent too, George. You could say, hey, these guys did 17 integrations last year, generated $9.73 million in revenue. If they do an additional 30 integrations this year on top of the 17 last year, you can watch that. And generally speaking, an integration for us, George, about $250,000 to $600,000 a year. But every now and then we'll press release when we do a very significant integration, the very large exchange, and those can generate up to $250,000 a month. And those are the ones that we have a propensity to press release. So we've done 2 or 3 of those this year. When you see us press release an integration, generally speaking, it's a larger one.
It's a biggie.
Yeah.
So safe to assume then you're not stopping at 750 million. We've got to assume that you've got more integrations coming, both small and big. How big can this get as far as the network of users you're able to access?
We can do this year. I was on a call this morning with my CTO. We had a management meeting. We were talking about how many integrations we want to do this year. We could do, and we have the manpower, the coding, the technology. We could do 100 integrations this year. But what we want to do is we want to do 30, where we manage expectations. We could do 100. 60 would be okay. 10 would be not so great. 60 might be, average. But we know we can do 30 key, fantastic integrations. And we would rather under-promise and over-deliver than over-promise and under-deliver. So our target this year is a very manageable, but very, very clean process with only the very, very best 30 integrations. But to answer your question, if we wanted to, we could do 100 this year.
And I know you can't give projections, but for us at home doing back of the napkin math, can I make a linear calculation there that with 17 integrations last year, you're able to generate so much revenue? If you do 30 this year, it's straight math, or are they going to vary in sizes and I can't just do this. I'm trying to get a projection at the end of the day because your numbers are fantastic.
Yeah, that's generally speaking, some of the integrations and some of the growth will be exponential, some not so much. But if you were on average to say 17 integrations last year, generated, there's tags in there and there's other, mitigating circumstances. There's cyclical nature of advertising. Q1 is always the slowest period. We expect Q1 to be significantly higher than Q1 the previous year,
sure. But
overall it'll be our slowest quarter of the year. So if you took 17 integrations last year, and let's say for sake of arguing the company did an additional 30 this year, generally speaking, you could figure out the math in your head. There's also some acquisitions that we're looking at. We've been successful so far, George, in our acquisition execution strategy. We find accretive strategic acquisitions that are well priced. We have the visibility now of being a public market, and it's attracted a lot of really great acquisitions that we hadn't thought of before that have sought us out because of our visibility, because of our strength.
It's a liquidity event for a lot of these guys where they can actually monetize and be acquired by a public company, have shares, and then have a liquidity event as their shares vest over the next 3-4 years. So that's got to put you in a significantly advantageous position in this market.
Not just a liquidity event, George, but being able to tie to something that's larger than just themselves spinning out there. As advertising technology changes and morphs, if you've got a company and you're doing $5 or $50 million a year, you can continue to do $5 or $50 million a year, but eventually margins are going to decrease and the larger players are going to win. You've got a public company that's executing well on its business plan and growing strongly right now. If I'm in that business, I'm looking for a company like that to tie my wagon to, where 1 and 1 might become 11. So we're in the fortuitous position of being able to look at extremely attractive acquisitions for our stakeholders and our shareholders right now.
Let's talk about this. Going forward, it's mathematics. You're talking about acquisitions. As time goes on, the bigger players will compress margins, so the smaller guys are going to want to jump on with you. How long will it take for Good Life to get to its maximum growth? Assume that you don't surpass Google and Facebook, which would be quite the feat for probably, as you've said, you want to be the 3rd largest network out there. If you do straight math, napkin with you guys, how long does it take to get there? 3 years, 5 years?
George, are you asking me to tell you and you alone specifically what date and time we're going to have $100 million a year in revenue so you can go out and buy stock faster and quicker than anybody else? I can't do that, George.
definitely not that.
I'm having some fun with you. Our goal is to become a $100 million a year company. We want to do that as quickly as possible. You know, I've done a lot of fun things in my life. I'm an award-winning broadcaster, best-selling author. I built, bought, or sold 7 companies worth mentioning. I've taken a couple of companies public. I've been with my wife for 38 years. I raised 3 boys. I wanted to get in shape some years ago. I became a member of the national triathlon team, went to a few world championships, competed in 50-50 triathlons. I'm a guy that has never missed a goal in his life. I've missed some deadlines. I've never missed a goal. My goal is to build this company to $100 million a year in revenue as quickly, efficiently, and as efficaciously possible. If I could do that in the next 18, 24 months or sooner, I'd be thrilled. Does that help?
Helps, but obviously you can't give us the time. But what helps a lot is the fact is your winning background at the end of the day. Because in this business, you've got to bet in the small cap side. You've really got to bet on the leader of the company. And we've got a great overview of what you've been able to achieve in your lifetime. But it goes beyond you, and I'm glad you brought all this up. You've got a fantastic board, and you've got some really good people around you as well on the financing side. I know that GMP has been a very big backer of you guys. Tell me a little bit about some of the key people. You've got people like Praveen Varshney, who's a director. You've been able to attract some superb people for a small cap company. You know, how big of a role are they going to play in you getting to $100 million a year?
That's another great question, and really astute and good insight, George. You know, for a junior company on the Toronto Stock Exchange, TSXV, we're new to the market. We're relatively speaking unknown, but we are performing, we are executing, and now there's empirical data to show that. One of my strengths over many, many years in media, entertainment, and technology is to surround myself and others in the company with media, entertainment, and technology alpha leaders. And it's no secret, you know, Henry Ford did it years ago, surround yourself with smart people. So Praveen Varshney at Varshney Capital Group and Pyfera and Brad Alix and the posse that Praveen brings, very, very strong. You know, Praveen is very well respected. You know, Paul Matisic, who's one of my best friends and has been an advisor and investor in this company from the get-go, is well known to markets around the world. He just sold Lithium X for a little under $300 million. Energy Metals some years ago for $1.8 billion, Uranium One, Lithium One. Paul has almost an incredible track record of backing successes. So we're honored and thrilled that he's been backing this company. You know, you look at our board in terms of acquisitions. It's no secret that we've been executing on acquisitions and have more acquisitions to execute on. Stephanie Ratza, CFO at Descartes Systems, a really big Canadian success story. She oversaw 23 acquisitions as CFO of that publicly trading company. And so she's playing a significant role in reviewing our acquisition strategy. You know, some of the advisors that we have on the board over and above the board of directors. Stephanie's a member of the board of directors. Praveen's a member of the board of directors. I just brought a gentleman on board. I haven't announced it yet, but he's involved in a media company that has hundreds of millions of users, household name worldwide. We're putting together a strategic relationship with them. So being able to, you know, pull in old media, television, radio, into new media, advertising technology is a whole new lane that we're just getting into. And it's because of the relationships that this company has. Make sense?
Yeah, I mean, forget about the fact that it makes sense for everyone on Agoracom that's watching this and watching you right now. This is the dream scenario that I've been waiting for the past several years. And a lot of people know that I talk about the catharsis that happened in the small cap markets in 2012 and 2015 was necessary, kind of like the dot-com crash, to wipe out all the nonsense that started to accumulate. And as a result, the only companies that have survived now are the strongest and the best. And I got to tell you, Jesse, Good Life Networks is an example of the kind of company I've said is going to make the next 10 years the greatest 10 years ever in the small cap markets, and specifically for this reason. Great companies are left behind, executing well, operated well, backed by fantastic people. I mean, this is it. Good Life Networks at the end of the day emulates that profile of company that we've been hoping is going to come out. And you guys are hitting it on all cylinders. I'm ecstatic that you're with Agoracom. I'm ecstatic that you took the time out today. to talk to everybody. And we could talk for another hour, but we'll save it because no doubt sounds like you're going to have more news coming in the future. You're going to have obviously a director coming on. You got a Q1 coming out. Looks like potentially more acquisition. So, thanks for joining us today, and congratulations to you and your entire team for what you've done for Good Life and what you're going to do for the small cap space.
Thank you, George, and we're thrilled and honored to be part of your family now at Agoracom. And I want to thank you for taking the time and your interest in Good Life Networks.
Yeah, how can anyone at home not be interested in this? You've watched Jesse. You've heard the numbers. Now it's incumbent on everyone at home. You got to go do your due diligence. Get to the company's website. Do your due diligence there. Get to Agoracom, where we've summarized it all nicely for you as well. And then talk to each other. Post your questions. Get your answers. Don't say we didn't tell you about Good Life Networks going forward. Thanks for joining us, Jesse. It's been a fantastic pleasure having you here.
Thank you, George.
You've been watching Jesse Dillon. He's director and CEO of Good Life Networks. The company trades on TSX Venture Exchange on the stock symbol GOOD. That's good. Good is great. And for our friends in Germany on Frankfurt, under 4G5. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.
Dankeschön.